What's up, everybody? This is A7X Ben. Welcome back to another battle report video. This one for game 2 between HMS GT UPS and the Ultra Abuse fleet, a couple of very competitive fleets from tournament number 3, and I'll have them linked in the description below. They're both on PSM list if you want to check them out in full. And in this game, HMS GT UPS rolled to go first, so they would be player 1. And just like in game 1, they got their terrain roll. Player 1 got their terrain roll. So in both of the first two games, the first player got the terrain roll they wanted. In this case, HMS GT UPS voted for only one terrain per player because they knew that if Ultra Abuse was going second and had a ton of whirlpools in play, they might be able to catch up. And they knew that they know that they're not quite capable of winning the game on the first turn. They can come really close, but HMS GT UPS can't quite win the game on one turn. And Ultra Abuse, that opens the door for Ultra Abuse to potentially find the Altar of the Loa on the second half of the first turn if they're going second. And then once they find the altar, HMS GT UPS might have a real hard time coming back from that. So in this case, they only voted for one terrain per player, and they got that roll. They rolled off. Ultra Abuse voted for 6 terrain per player because they knew they wanted to put something like 2 whirlpools, 2 reefs, and 2 fog banks, something like that. They wanted a lot of terrain, and but GT won the roll, so we only placed 1 terrain per player. So it was just like a Sargasso Sea and a reef near some of the home islands. And overall, GT UPS was able to take advantage of going first, and so they hidden coved right here in HMS Grand Temple, redocked, explored, found 655 and an oarsman. So they were very happy with that. They didn't find the altar, but so it kind of made it possible the enemy fleet might find it, but they were very happy with the treasure because they knew that if they could just trade home these 3 coins over the course of the first 2 rounds, they would win. Even without the +2 bonus, they could win because that's 16 right there. So Captain Jack Sparrow got busy trading, so he traded a 6 to the Coeur du Lion, and for an oarsman that the GT would flip face up so it didn't take up space, and she would load it via the free transfer rules. Core would unload the 6 for +2 with Aristide for 8 total, and then Micron gave Grand Temple another action, and so Core loaded another English oarsman via the free transfer rules once she was free of that 6 and had the card space open for another oarsman to come aboard. And then Grand Temple, of course, with Captain Jack Sparrow, traded home a 5, which went to the Core. That second English oarsman went to the island, and then Core, she didn't have a second action, of course, so she was just stuck with that 5, but next turn she'd be able to unload it potentially for +2. So they were very happy with this first turn, and kind of went the way they wanted it to. So they were relieved to not have to face a fleet using a ton of negative UTs like against Kill That UPS. So they were very happy with this island, with 3 out of the 4 coins being worth treasure, being worth value. So here we see the trading happening, and in this case, Grand Temple has left the face down abandoned oarsman on the island, and then there's a 5 still there as well. So they've got a reef near their home island, but it wouldn't really come into play. So now Ultra Abuse got a turn, and they were able to explore an island, and they found wolves, maps of Alexandria, a 5 and a 3. So in order to make any of this work, they basically had to trade away the wolves. Because if they didn't, they wouldn't be able to load the maps and use it to find all the treasure, to reveal everything, which would reveal, of course, the location of the Altar of the Loa, which is kind of the linchpin of their fleet. And they also they didn't know exactly what coins the Grand Temple was trading home. They could only see those once Core unloaded them. So they saw that they had 8 gold, and they knew they needed to interrupt somehow. So the Hai Peng had a couple options here. She actually could have used Hidden Cove. Here, I think I Hidden Cove Bloody Jewel because it was better to do it that way, I think. But basically, Hai Peng could have Hidden Coved to this island and then headed east to hit the Grand Temple with a couple of moves and shoots. But the problem is, even with ram damage, the best she could hope for was 5 damage because she would have gotten pinned and not being able to do a second ram if she rammed on the first action. And then if she did a second action, she would only shot. So either way, the best she could hope for was 5 total mass taken out with 4 hits and a ram, which of course was very unlikely. Her cannons aren't the best. So based on that, it wouldn't be possible to interrupt Captain Jack Sparrow trading home treasure worth of victory. So therefore, they basically had to play for the altar like finding the altar of the Loa. So they decided to do that instead because they wouldn't be able to sink the Grand Temple or eliminate Captain Jack Sparrow. So they played to find the altar, and they didn't find it here. But with Black Bart Bartholomew Roberts on the High Peng, they're able to trade away the wolves. So they traded with a northeastern island, but the problem is they only got Jailhouse Dog in return. So an upgrade over the wolves, of course, but they weren't able to trade for the altar. And that would kind of spell doom for them, because that would mean that they couldn't really come back from that, because they needed to find the altar this turn and interrupt the UPS trading strategy of the enemy fleet. So once they got the Jailhouse Dog aboard, High Peng had to load that. They trigger Maps of Alexandria. Maps of Alexandria reveals that the altar was on the island that they traded for. So without knowing what any of the treasures on either of these islands were, they actually did pick the right one to trade with, but they didn't trade for the altar. They traded for the Jailhouse Dog, which is where the wolves were. And then also on that island are the globe, the idol, and then in the north we've got the map, codex, looks like relics, and then a 6, because they didn't want the altar to be revealed quite as early, so they swapped in wolves and relics for the Maps of Alexandria and Pirate Globe in the Ultra Abuse fleet. So they actually took out their revealers in their treasure distribution. It's debatable whether or not they should have, but either way, Grand Temple didn't find any modified coins. She didn't find the relics or the wolves at her island. And it was partly because based on game 1, with what Ultra Abuse saw, they saw that Grand Temple didn't have a treasure trader like Black Bart. So they didn't have an island treasure trading ability. So they put in wolves and relics. Wolves basically to try to slow down the Grand Temple, because if she had found wolves instead of the oarsmen here, she has to go to a different island, but she can't reach one in just one action, because her first action was used to redock, and then her second action, SSS speed, she would not have reached one of these other islands on the first turn, which would have been pretty good for Ultra Abuse. And then of course relics, they wanted relics in there because they don't anticipate attacking Grand Temple. So relics should benefit Ultra Abuse more than it benefits the GT UPS fleet, because relics could be used to stave off an attack from Grand Temple against the High Peng or the Bloody Jewel. And then if Grand Temple finds it and loads it, High Peng and Bloody Jewel were very unlikely to attack the Grand Temple anyway. So they didn't really, they saw both UTs as like a net positive. And in this case, they did find the wolves, but they were able to trade them away. So it worked out fine. They almost traded them for the altar, which would have been a game changer. But anyway, so that's through the end of the first round. And then that was actually it. So I don't have any other pictures, because on their next turn, GT UPS, they traded home. Basically, Core got the first action of the turn. So she unloaded the 5 she had loaded from Grand Temple on turn 1 and plus it up for +2. So that gave them 15 overall, because they had 8. They had 6 + 2 on the first turn. So 8 + 7 is 15. And then Grand Temple redocked, and she sent home this 5 for the French oarsman that was now on the Coeur du Lion. The oarsman went to the island, 5 went to the Core, and then Core got Micron. Micron actually used his action on the Core this turn to give her a second explore action at the home island. She unloaded the 5 + 2 is another 7. So then now they have essentially basically 8, 7, and 7 for 22 total gold. So overall, they were able to win pretty easily after just a round and a half. So in this case, they were able to win playing their game. So in both of the games so far, we've seen each fleet able to play their game that they wanted to play and win very easily because of it. So in game 1, Ultra Beast went first. They found the altar right away, and they were able to just wipe the floor with the GT UPS fleet. Completely controlled them. GT UPS didn't get a turn, essentially. And then they just got 16 home to win. And then in this game, GT UPS, they basically were able to go first and start trading treasure home. And they were able to get plenty of gold. They got the winning gold home before the other fleet could utilize the altar of the Loa. So overall, a dominant victory for HMS GT UPS. So they win 22-0, and a pretty high score for them. And it's the second game in a row in the series where we had a shutout and a pretty quick game overall. So it kind of shows how powerful HMS GT UPS is. But of course, they won T3, and we kind of already knew they were capable of this kind of game. So overall, not too surprising. And this is also the second game in a row where player one was able to be victorious. So I think in this series, being able to be player one is a little more advantageous in this series than in some of the other fleet matchups I've seen. And because it comes down to getting that initiative, because GTUPS they only really need 2 turns of trading gold home, as long as they have 3 coins worth value, or 2 6s, of course, for 16 total with the +2s. They only need a couple turns of trading coins home to win. And then, of course, Ultra Abuse, they just need to find the altar. Once they found the altar, it's very hard to beat them. So if they go first and they're able to explore 2 islands on turn 1, they have a 50% shot of finding the altar, because they can see 8 coins out of 16. And then with the revealers, they might be able to see all of them. And then once they find the altar, they just got to go there and start sacking crew and make sure Bloody Jewel can get there to keep the party going, where they can control the enemy. So overall, though, a nice victory for HMS GTUPS. This knots the series up at 1-1. So this would force a game 3 deciding game between these two. So thanks for watching. Feel free to stay tuned for the final battle report of the series. Like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more Pirates videos. Thanks for watching.